Hey everyone, Adam here, So Wizard Podcast. I have another interview for you today. I got to sit down with Rachel, Kayla, and Fern, the three women behind the new series Human Telegraphs. And of course, cats are always involved. This was a really fun conversation. It was cool to hear the genesis, how it got started, and how they came together. And it was also really cool that we've been talking to a lot of people who make indie movies, which is a huge feat in itself. But I think making an indie series takes it even a step further, and the fact that they pulled it off and it's a good looking funny series is, all the more credit to them that they managed to put this thing together, because I can only think of the logistics of how hard it was to get something like that off the ground. I mean, they even crowdfunded the season, so they didn't have like major studio backing or anything with deep pockets funding them, and they made it work. The three of them produced it. Rachel wrote it. All three of them acted in it, and it really came together nice. And it was cool to hear about the journey that it took and the fact that it's now in festivals and getting great reception. So this was a really fun conversation. I hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, Adam here, So Wizard Podcast. I'm sitting now with Rachel, Kayla, and Fern to talk about their new series, Human Telegraphs. How you guys doing?
Hi. We're so excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. This is a pretty cool project.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit before I hit record, and I was going to ask how the three of you came to be working together. So how did the three of you come to be working together?
We all met Rachel. Rachel was sort of our linchpin. I met Rachel in this Fearless in 2015 workshop, and then Rachel and Kayla.
Rachel and I met after a hot yoga class. And we were always talking about web series ideas. Whenever we would hang out, we would always end up daydreaming about, what about this concept? And then we were like, maybe we should actually commit to this thing. We were at dinner one night, and then Rachel texted Fern and was like, hey, want to produce a web series with us? And then that's when it all started.
I met Kayla and Fern within a few days of each other. I think the Fearless workshop was either a couple days before the hot yoga class or after. So I met them both within the same week.
Really synchronistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. And I'm guessing the three of you independently were all acting, writing, on all the above.
My background is a playwright and writer, and then that's how Kayla and I initially connected, is we both had a theater background, her as an actor, and then Fern is also an actor.
Also a theater background.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was at a place where I was starting to do more on-camera work, and it was right around when web series were becoming really more mainstream on YouTube and Vimeo and things like that. So I was really excited to start making my own content. And then I met Rachel, and we were like, let's do it, and started coming up with ideas.
And they wrote me in, so that was fun.
Nice. All right. So of all the ideas you talked about, what made Human Telegraph stand out as the one to go for?
Well, we did initially talk about, we definitely wanted to play three characters that were good friends. And the three characters kind of, embodied our natural spirits, but are a bit more exaggerated versions of ourselves. And I think initially we talked about being roommates in New York. We definitely wanted to talk about the New York experience, or just share our experience, I think, of, living in New York and juggling, different jobs and trying to make it in the arts. So we initially were going to just be roommates, but then I was trying to think of a way to bring a lot of characters into different episodes, because I love like, having a structure where we can meet a lot of different people. And then I heard a podcast episode on the subway, and I still don't remember the name of the podcast, but they were interviewing a guy who had a message delivered to him in person while he was working at a bookstore in New York. And it was through an app at the time. And basically, I think he described the guy who came to deliver the message as like stocky, blonde hair, balding. And he was like, hey, it's I don't remember the exact girl's name. It was like, it's Anna, and I effing love you. And the guy was taken aback. He's like, oh, I do know who this Anna is, but who's this guy? And it's in front of everybody in the bookstore. And he was a little mortified or humiliated. And I was like, that's really interesting. And that would be really, really interesting if that was somebody's job. They do that regularly, and their livelihood and their ability to, stay in the city depended on them doing a good job with it and having, customers be happy with their work. And it'd be a fun way to meet a lot of different characters in every episode. So that's originally how it came to be.
It's definitely a great premise for a comedy to have that kind of like you guys are the center, and then you have like a rotating cast of people that can go in any direction around you. So it was a really genius move.
And also, a lot of times we talk about how in New York City we all have experience of being in everyone's business because we're always surrounded by so many strangers and so much noise. Like
Sounds like New York City. Yep.
all the time. So it was interesting to play with that idea of, you know, being tangled in strangers' business and getting to see the voyeuristic side of New York City.
And I thought it was a really funny addition that your characters deliver the messages in first person. It's not like, oh, Anna told me to tell you this, but you come right out. I thought that made a huge difference in the delivery, I felt.
Awesome, because you can put so much more into it if it's like you are the delivery and the emotion of this message.
Yeah, and it just makes it kind of that much more ridiculous depending on what the message is. So
yeah, the people that we deliver the messages to are often confused about what's happening at first.
You're right, exactly, yeah.
And just to give
the director Margot, because she's an actor, she takes her messages extremely seriously and gets very into character with them. So that was really fun.
Yeah, that was a fun aspect. And just to give credit to where it's due, that's an aspect of the app that the podcast was talking about, or that was basically the guy's experience at the bookstore, was that it was delivered in first person. He had no context. So that's where the idea came from.
Yeah. So you guys get together, you decide you want to do this thing. You kind of come up with the premise. How does the writing of the episodes go? Because are all three of you writing?
Just me. I think I definitely, this was so long ago because I wrote the scripts I wrote the pilot, I think back in 2016, and maybe the rest of the scripts later in 2016, and then we filmed in 2017. But I'm pretty sure I had sent you guys the scripts with any feedback, should we change anything, stuff like that.
We helped brainstorm and edit, but we did Kayla and I did not write it, but we brainstormed and edited.
Yeah, it was more in the very beginning stages when Rachel came up with the concept. We would meet up at Whole Foods and be like, oh, what if we delivered this kind of message to this sort of character?
Yeah.
So we bounced around different scenarios, and then Rachel wrote all the detailed entanglements.
Okay, cool. So you kind of would almost break the story together, and then Rachel would go and polish it into a script. Sorry, this cat is...
I love that.
It was mostly Rachel who came up with all the characters and things like that. I would say in the beginning, we were all very excited about the idea and bouncing around different, I think from our own experiences of different people we've met in New York. You know, when you're just starting out with inspirations for different things, it's good to just throw out ideas and get everything out and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, I remember writing a bunch of ideas down when we brainstormed. I think probably some of them probably made it in and some of them didn't, just depending on where the flow of the script was going. But it was nice to have our brainstorming sessions because it just gets you thinking.
And we also started out with a different name at first, and then we found out another web series had that name already that just started. We actually did their casting breakdown on Actors Access when we went to post hours, and we were like, oh,
Untitled Project.
That probably happens a lot. There's a lot of content out there now.
Yeah. I think our original name was Don't Shoot the Messenger. And we're like, oh, we can't do that one. Somebody else already has that.
Which I'm grateful. I love our new name, or our current name.
It's a little catchier.
There's other Human Telegraphs out there, so it's
right. So you wrote it all in 2016. I'm trying to word this in a nice way because I feel like the way I'm going to word it is blunt, and I'm not meaning to be rude, but why so long between 2016 and now that it's coming out?
Our post-production took a long time. We did film it in October and November of 2017. But then, it was our first time producing. We had to run 2 different crowdfunding campaigns, one for production, one for post-production. So that took time. We had some life changes. Both Fern and I moved to California.
So many cross-country moves.
We all moved.
Breakups.
Yeah.
I
got married. I had a baby.
Yeah, all 3 of us. This was the first time producing this size of a project. So we're always like, well, we never really knew, going into it, all the details involved in every step of the process, and we're still learning. So as far as, we produced basically a feature film length of content. So, and we crowdfunded for that on Seed and Spark. And so we had, for a web series, a great production value. So we really just put so much time and love into every single detail, the three of us. Being in different cities, we were meeting on Skype all the time. And, all three of us we're all executive creative producers. So we all have input in every decision. So it's a great team and a great balance, but it definitely took time to go through each stage of post-production and finding the right freelancers for our style of project. And so looking back, I'm so grateful for how everything turned out and the timing of everything. I think we all really believe that it happened the way it's meant to be. But we definitely didn't expect for it to take that long. But we made it and we learned a lot.
Yeah, and I naively was like, oh yeah, we'll totally crowdfund in 2017, film it, and then finish it so that like it will just be easy for our taxes. Earn it all, spend it all, 1 year, done. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, maybe not.
Yeah, it's crazy ambitious because most of the interviews I do is for people doing indie movies. It just seems to be more of the path. And then when it was for a series, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And a lot of web series I've seen are like, 6 to 8 minute episodes. And it's like, no, this is a series with full length episodes shot in New York City, but not just inside an apartment. Like you guys are out in the city. It's crazy ambitious.
Wild.
That had to add a whole other wrinkle to the production, I would imagine, being out in the streets.
They got so cold. Because there's some nights where we're filming and it's just like, oh no, are we reverbing? Oh, no.
Yeah,
Yeah, you guys are cutting out a little bit. There you go.
I think it's settled.
We're good.
Okay.
Are you good?
But yeah, the weather cooperated with us pretty well, so that was beneficial. We didn't have to make too many production schedule adjustments. But we did do a few company moves from like Coney Island to then the East Village in the same day with a full crew and gear, and that got a little complicated at times. But we were always able to make up time somehow and stay on schedule in the end.
Awesome. Well, it's good to hear. It came together. It's cool because New York City is, whenever you make something in New York City is a character. But for you guys as an indie series, a crowdfunded series, to be able to utilize that, I thought was really cool, and it added a huge scope to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that the way Rachel wrote the script, that was always a big part of the vision, was definitely using New York City and the personality of New York City and highlighting. We always talked about, highlighting the personalities of each neighborhood that we're delivering to. So you'll notice in the B-roll before we get introduced to a certain character, you'll see snippets of New York City neighborhoods. And that's very intentional. It's like a shout out to New Yorkers. So we really enjoyed using the scenery and the different neighborhoods of New York City.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That someone will watch it and be like, okay, no, I know the inside of that theater and that's not where the front of it is. And like to piece around. And like, I really want someone to do that and just like call us out on it because like, yes, New York.
Yeah, there's definitely some movie magic involved.
I think New Yorkers are probably used to that. So much stuff is shot there. They're like, oh, it's another production, move along.
Yeah.
It feels like everyone's so busy. You got what?
We definitely got some looks. One of the nights we got some people like following us around, and I was like, "Yo, it is late. I'm tired. Please stop messing up our shots."
Oh yeah, we were definitely getting catcalled before one of our shots. That was a challenge of shooting on the streets of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
But
is that like permitted shooting? Like, do you have to get or is it just kind of like it's a New York City street? Like, good luck.
We did have to go through the mayor's office or some sort of legal system to
Rachel, you handled
permits. I don't remember the exact.
I think I did do the permits. It's all there now. I think it was me and maybe Samantha Winterhouse, who was our assistant director at the time.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know I did not touch that, but we were permitted, is what I remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I did do the permits in the end. Yeah, we did get permits, I think, for almost all of our outside shots. Coney Island, outside of Penn Station, Hell's Kitchen.
But the permits were, you have permission. It wasn't like we're going to shut the block down for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's just we have permission to shoot there. They definitely did not shoot the block down. That's just fine. Actually, we kind of wanted like background traffic and
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You'd want it to feel like the city, but then it leads to the problems that they were just talking about with people following you around and getting in the way.
Yeah, there was actually scenes that we were watching once it was all, edited together where we were like, oh my gosh, those people, they're perfect in the background. Like there was people that just happened to be there or happened to be reacting to the scenes that were shot. And we were like, we didn't even hire them, and they were the perfect background actors. They just fit in perfectly with the world.
And there's one guy who like saw us shooting, and within frame you see him just like, dude, never mind, and like do a sharp turn into the street. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess that could be a normal behavior.
Yeah.
Wrong way.
I forgot something.
Yeah, exactly. He forgot something.
And with New York City, there's no such thing as normal behavior.
This is so true.
When you started, were you all, no, because you weren't all based in New York City.
We were.
Oh, you were at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So you were, and then you splintered off in the course of its life.
Yeah, during post-production. Oh no, Rachel moved first, and then I moved, and then we kept moving. We just all keep moving.
True.
Is there desire or plans for season 2?
We would definitely like to transition season 2 to 30-minute episodes, like with a major streaming platform. That's like our goal and our dream, to do it again. And I'm working on a pilot right now, like a 30-minute pilot version of the show. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Very cool. That's probably jumping the gun since your release hadn't even happened yet. I was just wondering how it would work logistically with you guys living everywhere. But I guess as actors and creatives, that's kind of part of the gig, is you got to relocate and jump around.
If I had to come back to New York to film season 2, like I can make that work, I'm sure.
Yeah. That'd be great, actually.
Maybe aim for August next time.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
September, the perfect shoulder season, not too hot, not too cold.
There you go. Yeah. So now, Fern, you were saying you're back in New York you guys have a festival coming up.
Yes, we're the Big Apple Film Festival, and we're premiering our world premiere actually this Friday, and it'll be our first time with an audience seeing episodes 2 and 3. So I'm incredibly excited about it and like kind of nervous. Like, where will they laugh? Like, will they laugh? I mean, of course they'll laugh, but just filmmaker anxieties.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the story with episode 1? You said it's 2 and 3 for the premiere?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we filmed the pilot on zero budget as a proof of concept for our crowdfunding campaign, just to show our supporters what we wanted to create and introduce the world and the characters and the show concept. So we finished the pilot back in 2017 for the crowdfunding campaign. So film festivals that we're submitting to now, we're just submitting episodes 2 through 8 because those are our new episodes that we haven't released yet. And episodes 2 through 8 is what you can watch online November 15th when we release it. But the pilot is actually online now. It's on our website. It's on YouTube. And we have a trailer, for season 1 also on our website and on YouTube.
Okay, that makes sense.
But a bit shabbier because it was no budget.
less extravagance in our costumes, so our characters were slightly less developed. But I often say to people, I was like, that kind of happens sometimes in actual pilots that go on to streaming platforms and things too. You'll watch the original pilot and there's different actors playing different roles. So it's interesting to see how a series can develop once that's done.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the pilot is half the time not really an indication of what the series is going to be. I mean, it's the general concept's there, but
yeah, that's what we were going for. I think when we were shooting the pilot, we always had the big dreams of shooting 7 more episodes, but it was also felt kind of far away at that time. It was just, that was our dream, that was our goal, and
then we did
it. Really crazy to be at this moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's just got to be so cool to crowdfund something so huge and have it become a reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was quite a journey.
I mean, really, just to nail the crowdfunding, that's not easy. Then
Right.
you had to make the thing.
Exactly. It was so much we didn't know, and I'm glad we didn't know, because if I knew what we're getting ourselves into, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks.
I wanted to ask that as well, but I couldn't think of a way that was like, oh, would you do it again? You know, would you
Yeah.
bother?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, when we finished, I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm never doing that again, ever. That was crazy. And then back in the back of my head, I was like, well, I know that with all this knowledge now, it'd almost be a pity not to put it to use. So I'm like, okay, I could see myself doing something again in the future with more understanding now, but definitely like take a little hiatus first.
There you go. Then you just remember the good parts.
Exactly.
So for the crowdfunding, was that something that the three of you ran yourselves?
Oh yeah. We
Wow.
went to Seed and Spark, and they had this great online education class, and we took all those courses. I was reading books, and like,
Mhm.
we were all strategizing together, like, oh, if we offer this? Like, would people be interested in a random XYZ from our show? And so it's a lot of experimenting, a lot of, just emailing people one-on-one, being like, hi, long time no hear. How's it going? Hey, I bought a thing. Do you want to contribute something? And like, honestly, I was always surprised and really honored when people did, because I just like I see our project from like inside it, and sometimes it's hard to see how other people might see it who aren't involved in like filmmaking at all, and how like, oh, this is actually really cool to have this person who you knew from another life just be like, I'm making a thing and look at it, and they're like, oh well, yeah, let me like give you some money, and it's just like you trust us with your money? Oh my god.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
we
And
were really touched by a lot of our surprise pledgers.
Yeah.
Especially in the end, that really got us to the finish line. For Seed and Spark, you have to make at least 80% of your goal or nothing comes through. So
It's just like,
yeah. Yeah, well, you get to that 79% mark and you're like, come on, just put it over.
yeah. It's like, do I have money to put it over? I just
Yeah.
have to
You can only buy in
wait it
so many
out.
times. No, it's great though. I love that crowdfunding is a thing, so that series like yours aren't just like up to some executive to read 3 pages of your script and either pass or accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can really believe in yourself.
Yeah. And like our community believes in us, which is just like,
Yeah.
thanks, guys. Like, thanks.
So when you were doing the shooting, the scripts are written, obviously, and you all had input, and you said you kind of developed the characters based on yourselves. Was there a lot of ad-libbing in it?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It felt very organic.
Oh, good.
I would say that the ad libbing was mostly in the blocking or the choreography or the talented actors that found these authentic moments within the script. But as far as the text goes, we stayed very on text. But we would always have blocking rehearsals before shooting, which gave us some creative collaboration with the actors to sort of find fun moments or different some scenes we had to choreograph the day of when we got to the theater or wherever we were shooting. So that sort of thing kind of happened in the moment at times. But we did stay very on script, again, because of the length of content we were shooting. We wanted to make sure our editor had no issues, getting everything cleaned together and telling the story, especially because we had such limited time frame to shoot in with all the content.
We did
That
have some
makes a lot of
editing
sense.
slip in, but it was generally not the nature of the way we ran the set.
Right.
Yeah. We had a script supervisor to make sure all the lines were said and whatnot.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess it's really good that you spent so much time polishing the personalities to yourselves before you started. Because, I mean, I figured obviously some scenes had to be, this scene needs to accomplish these things. So you have to say these things. But in between that, you can kind of do what you want. That's kind of what it felt like just as a viewer, not knowing your process. So
Oh, thank
good
you.
job.
Good job writing, Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. For the festivals, you have one on the 12th, you said, this week or next week. And is there another one a week after?
It's actually this week. So there's one on the 5th on Friday. That's in person. That's our world premiere. And then the next one is the 12th to the 14th with the NYC Web Fest. That's going to be online.
Okay, cool. And are people listening to this right now, are they able to buy tickets to that
Yeah.
one?
Oh, please do.
Yeah, for the Big Apple Film Festival this Friday, we're actually premiering at the AMC Empire Theaters in Times Square. It's a really cool location. The festival itself actually started this last Monday, and we went to some screenings, and it was really awesome just seeing the new work in the theater space. And it's just right on Broadway. It's really dreamy. And
Yeah.
yeah, you can buy tickets on BigAppleFilmFestival.com, I believe, or if you just Google Big Apple Film Festival, you can buy tickets. We're screening at 6 p.m. this Friday, 6 to I think 7:30 or
Very
8.
cool. So
Yeah.
you said you got to see some screenings. Was that just cast and crew kind of stuff, or was there an audience there?
There was an audience. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went on Monday and it was packed and the audience was fantastic. There's always a Q&A session with the filmmakers afterwards. There were really great questions being asked, and so it felt like a nice community, a very collaborative experience. So we're hoping for the same on Friday. I have no idea what questions we're going to be asked, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
These are
Kayla,
screenings for other films within the film festival. So just getting to connect with other people who are also creating their own work and other producers is just so much fun. And just like knowing like certain questions that we want to ask, because it's like, ooh, we had this interesting experience as indie producers. Like, how about your set? How about your whole setup? So it's a really fun place to just like hang out with other creators and the audience member who comes.
Yeah, definitely. Kayla, were you able to attend that one?
No, I wasn't able to attend the festival yet. I think I'm going to go tomorrow to the screenings because it's happening all this week.
Very cool. Yeah, I always like to ask people who make movies, TV, whatever, if you got to see it with a live audience, because I imagine that's really one of the big payoffs when you're finally done is to, okay, good, they laughed where they should laugh, and they felt the emotion where they should have, and it's hitting, it's working.
Yeah. I mean, we did that for our pilot. We had a screening to, was that, I think it was to launch our crowdfunding campaign, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe it was in the middle. I don't remember anymore, but we had a party to launch our pilot, and that was super fun and kind of nerve-wracking. So and those were all our friends that we invited, on the Upper West, I think we were. So seeing it on Friday with like actual people, and we don't even know who's going to be there, like who don't know us at all, they're there for another film. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been on the inside for so long.
Yeah, right. You have to see it with fresh eyes now.
Sorry?
You get to see it with fresh eyes now.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
When's
the last time you guys did watch it?
Oh,
well,
should I not ask?
Pretty recently. We've been watching it because we're making different cuts for film festival submissions. Some film festivals have like a time limit or have so many episodes that they want to review, or some of them will do the whole season. Because we have 7 new episodes total, 8 including the pilot, which we're not submitting. So I think we watched it, to like just proof it for technical things and also storytelling stuff. We watched it quite a bit, I think, these past months.
I mean, we're watching. Personally, I feel like I'm watching it constantly because we're just always in a certain stage of something with the project. So like right now I'm working on different trailers for our social media and things like that. And so I feel like we're always going through the episodes and finding new things to take out or edit together a different way or tell the story a different way. So, and in post-production, even with, sound design or composing or things like that, we're always watching the episodes through and through and through and fine-tuning things. So it just feels like we're always watching it. That's why I just could laugh. And you said, when's the last? Because I don't know when the last time I binged it through, but I'm always watching it.
Yeah, we're
always there. Well, that's good, because having shot in 2017, I don't know if it's like 3 years later you get a call, it's going to be in a film festival in 6 months, and you're like, oh, okay, I better brush up on that so I know, I remember everything.
Oh yeah, we're brushed up.
We've been brushed up for like years. We've been brushing up constantly.
And I guess being, the actors, the creators, the producers, you lived it, so you're probably not going to forget much of it.
Right, yeah.
So you are submitting to other film festivals. Any luck there? Maybe you can't give specifics, but...
We're still early in the submission process, so I think most of the film festivals, we won't hear back from them until 2022.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so far we're in the Big Apple Film Festival and NYC Web Fest the following weekend, and then we are finalists for New York International Film Awards, and we'll hear back November 5th if we advance to the next round. And the next round, you get a screening also in the city. So far, all of our festivals that we've heard back from have been in New York, which is actually really fun since it's our.
Wasn't there like a British Web Awards that we got? We're at some level in that process that I think semifinalists. I forget exactly which level, but
you're right. We are official selections for the British Web Awards, so we're actually being featured on there, and we've been nominated for a few awards through them, but we don't know. They haven't announced which awards like people are nominated for, or different projects are nominated for yet. They just have their official selections list out. But I do know that we're nominated for at least 1 or 2 awards. And
like 4 for New York NYC Web Fest. It was like Best Comedy, I Love New York, Best Ensemble. There was another one, I forgot what it was.
There.
Wow.
What was it?
Best Concept.
Oh yeah, Best Original Concept, Best Comedy, yeah, Best Acting Ensemble, and then there's an I Love New York category. Yeah. So yeah,
Those
we
are
are
huge.
You're really excited because there's actually, I think, 56 or 57 series in the NYC Web Fest from all over the world because it's an international festival. So we were just excited to get selected. And then, they have 5, slots for each category. So to be nominated in so many categories was really thrilling, especially Best Comedy. I thought I was like, oh, wow. And also Best Ensemble Acting, because we definitely don't have like a female lead or a male lead. We're an ensemble cast for sure. So that was really exciting. And Original Concept. Well, and I Love New York.
Yeah, they're all huge. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Was rolling it out in the New York City festivals, because you shot in New York City, was that by plan, or did it just kind of work out that way?
It just has worked out that way so far because I've definitely we've definitely focused on submitting to New York festivals just because that's our community when we submit. So, but we've submitted to festivals, all over the country. We just haven't heard back from a lot yet. And then we've heard back from some where we weren't the right fit, which is fine too, because it's such a subjective process. So. Yeah,
definitely. That's really cool. It sounds like it's really working, and I'm glad to hear that because you guys have put years into it, and I'm sure it was stressful. It just sounds stressful talking about it. So
it's stressful but fun.
There have been moments of joy and wonder and delight in addition to the stress.
Right. The sleepless nights, but then you have
we all started out as coming into this as creatives, as so many people do, and a lot of people talk about taking on the producer hat or the wearing of the multiple hats, and it gets pretty insane.
Yeah,
and it's like it's a trade-off that a lot of creatives do to be able to create their own content, is take on the business side of things. So it's not all fun and games, because we started an LLC and we have taxes, and so. Yeah, that's stressful.
Yeah, for sure. But just the fact that you guys keep pivoting is great. Like, you wanted to do the creative part, which is awesome, and you raise the money yourselves. I mean, I don't have to tell you everything you did, but it's cool that every step of the way you were able to pivot and fill those roles.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing system of like every step of the process. We're like, okay, who's wearing what hat for this part? So we're definitely grateful for the 3 producer team. It's been really great.
For
especially because like we'll sort of the way like that we work together, like I will have a time where I just need to take a break and like take a step back, and because there's 3 of us, someone else will have like the more drive and more energy and more whatever at that specific time. So it's like we can rotate between who is like really pushing forward and who can sort of take a step back based on what's happening in our lives at the time. And so it's a really great teamwork for us. So like I think that's why we've managed to actually finish it, and like because there's 3 of us, so whenever someone's like, I don't want to anymore, which is me sometimes, it's like somebody else is gonna like, no, we got this, we can do this.
Life has cycles. We're all really aware of that, and I've always we were friends before becoming producers, so it's been helpful.
It's good that it worked and it wasn't it didn't rip you guys apart.
Amazingly, no, we're still friends. I'm so proud of us.
I imagine the stress of it had to be trying at times.
Yeah.
I had another question. Your creative projects after you finish this, do those just feel like, oh, this is a breeze? I'm doing one thing, like I'm just writing or I'm just acting.
Yeah, actually, Kayla and I were cast together on a project that was filming after we'd already filmed, and we had our promotional shoot in the same location as we had like 2 overnight shoots for Human Telegraphs. So both of us were like sitting there going,
This feels weird.
should we be doing something right now? No, we're just actors. Okay, we can just sit here. And then like still I couldn't help it. Like we had a butler and his in this other film shoot, and his like glass was coming off of his tray. And I couldn't help myself. I just jumped up and I was like, I've got double-sided tape, and like I fixed it. And I sat down. I was like, I just can't turn out the producer.
Really hard to relax sometimes.
Yeah.
You're so used to going at 100 miles an hour, you can't slow down.
Yeah.
Well, all three of you, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on. That was a lot of fun. I don't want to eat up your whole afternoon. It sounds like you have even more to get going on. So thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. If you guys want to do it again, if you got another release coming, we could definitely do it again because that was a lot of fun.
That would be great.
Thanks so much, Adam.
Yeah,
Definitely.
thank
So if one more time you want to tell people where and how they can see it and anything else you want to plug, like your socials or anything. Anyone?
We're screening this Friday, November 5th.
Yes.
At the Big Apple Film Festival in New York City. And you can buy tickets online. The screening's at 6 o'clock. And
then you can also go on NYC Web Fest, and they'll have the info on the screenings then. Or you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get notified when all the episodes drop on the 15th. And then it's Human Telegraphs on all the social medias, even TikTok. We're trying that, even though we feel a bit old for it. Well, I do at least, but anyway. And then on socials, I'm Fern Lim Ye. And
V. Kayla Conroy.
And RK Barclay.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. It's really cool, and it's really inspiring that you guys took on all that work. So anyone wants to create something, you have no excuse. Go do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
I'd like to thank Rachel, Kayla, and Fern one more time for coming on the show to talk to me about their new web series, Human Telegraphs. It's coming out November 15th, I believe. I know we talk about a lot of dates in it, which is why even now I'm a little bit unsure. But November 15th, Human Telegraphs is going to be available on YouTube. All episodes, 8 episodes in the first season. Make sure you check it out. And it is playing at a couple film festivals, as they mentioned, that you can buy tickets for to see it online. So support the work. It's very cool. Also, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow our audience. We have a lot more interviews, a lot more new movie coverage, more unboxings. We have Comic-Con footage coming your way. Joey and I are heading to Rhode Island Comic-Con this weekend, November 6th as of this recording. Well, I guess it's November 6th, no matter when I recorded it. Anyway, you're not going to want to miss out. Also, make sure you listen to So Wizard Podcast every single week, wherever you get your podcasts. SoWizardPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, merchandise, videos, and more. We'd love hearing feedback, so drop us a note in the comments, leave us something on social media. All the accounts can be found after the show and in the show notes. So Wizard Podcast can also be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows. And on a more personal note, a really good friend and I have an ongoing comedy comic series. It's called Social Studies. It's a slice-of-life comedy comic about the high school experience. We write it like a sitcom. We keep it light and fun. The look is inspired by the 90s cartoons that inspired us. So make sure you check that out at socialstudiescomic.com. There's 7 full issues available now, coming soon in a trade paperback format that we just crowdfunded. And Chapter 2 comes in just a couple months, so it's a great time to jump on board. Once again, socialstudiescomic.com, and thank you.